If everyone will take their seats, we'll get started with our meeting. Hello. I'd like to call the meeting of the Peoria City Council to order. I'd also like to welcome everyone who's in our council chambers, as well as our listening audience at WCBU. Welcome also to our audience watching on cable channel 22. Madam Clerk, the council mics are open. Please call the roll.
Mayor Ali.
Present.
Councilmember Allen.
Present.
Councilmember Sear.
Here.
Councilmember Gordon Young.
Present.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Councilmember Kelly.
Here.
Councilmember Euler.
Here.
Councilmember Riggenbach.
Here.
Councilmember Valpula. And Councilmember Vespa.
Here.
We have a quorum present, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Everyone, please join me and stand for a moment of silent prayer or silent reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk?
We are at proclamations.
We have 4 proclamations this evening. The first proclamation recognizes Fire Prevention Month, and we have Fire Chief Sean Solberger, as well as Peoria Fire Division Chief of Prevention, Nathaniel Rice. Proclamation reads, whereas the Peoria Fire Department participates in the nationally observed Fire Prevention Week from October 6th through October 12th, and whereas the Peoria Fire Department partners with the National Fire Protection Association for educational curriculum on fire prevention. The theme for 2024 is smoke alarms. Make them work for you. And the goal is educating the public about the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home. And whereas the Peoria Fire Department will visit all Peoria public elementary schools to give a presentation and demonstration with a safety house and also raise awareness of community risk reduction. Now therefore I, Rita Ali, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize October 6th through October 12th as Fire Prevention Week in Peoria, Illinois.
Madam Mayor, Mr. Manager, distinguished council, just wanted to say thank you for the recognition. Sometimes you have to understand as a leader where you're best suited, and I'm going to hand this microphone off to our Division Chief of Prevention, Nate Rice.
I don't know if best suited is really quite the right answer for that, but thank you, Mayor, Council, City Manager, for your support of fire prevention in the city of Peoria. It's extremely important. I have to say that while I'm the pilot of this plane of fire prevention, I have a staff that is the true wings of the plane that do a tremendous amount of work. I have 5 members of my staff, Brad Pearson, Josh Harris, Charlie Perrin, Shane Pomeroy, and Aaron Sapinski. They do a tremendous amount of work, and they're very knowledgeable and very good at what they do. As the mayor mentioned in the proclamation, we will be presenting to all schools in the Peoria Public School System, kindergarten through 2nd grade. This year, as part of community risk reduction, we will also be implementing a sound off program. It's a nationally known program that's vetted by educational professionals, and that's going to start this year. As the mayor talked about, community risk reduction is not just a fancy word. It is truly something that I, as the prevention chief, truly believe in. It is something that I think is moving the fire service and something that we need to concentrate on. And we've had the support of Chief Sahlberger in our efforts for community risk reduction, and we will continue down that path. So once again, thank you, and let's keep Peoria Fire safe.
That's right. Thank you. Our next proclamation recognizes National Metastatic Breast Cancer Day, and we have Erica France with Light Up MBC Ambassador, and MBC stands for Metastatic Breast Cancer. Thank you for being here with us, Erica. Whereas October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast cancer is the most common type of cancer among women in the world and the second leading cause of cancer death among women in the United States. The mortality rate for Black women with breast cancer is 41% higher than for Caucasian women, and breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related death for Hispanic women. And whereas metastatic breast cancer, MBC, occurs when breast cancer spreads to other parts of the body and has an average life expectancy of 2 to 3 years. Regardless of early detection, approximately 30% of stage 0 to 3 breast cancers will return as stage 4. Whereas the MBC Awareness Tricolor Ribbon features pink, which is well known for representing the fight against early stage breast cancer, along with teal to represent healing and spirituality, and green to represent renewal and hope. And whereas there is a global campaign on October 13th, to honor the 117 lives lost to MBC each day, bring awareness to the disease, and raise research funds through the national organization Metaviver, research and support. Now, therefore, I, Rita Ali, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize October 13th as National Metastatic Breast Cancer Day in Peoria. Ms. France?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Breast cancer is the most common cancer among women in the world. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime, and 1 in 3 of those will be diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. I hit both of those statistics in one fell swoop. In June of 2023, at the age of 44, I was diagnosed with triple-negative metastatic breast cancer, de novo, meaning I was diagnosed stage 4 at the start of my cancer, and it was not previously discovered at an earlier stage. My cancer had spread to much of my spine, chest, ribs, pelvis, hips, and legs. My options for treatment were less than that of someone who was diagnosed at an earlier stage. Surgery was not an option due to the significant spread, and radiation would only be an option for palliative care. So I immediately began chemotherapy. There is no cure for metastatic breast cancer, no more treatments left. I will continue to be scanned every 3 to 4 months to monitor efficacy of treatment and to watch for progression. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it is in full swing. We are flooded with pink ribbon campaigns. Simplifying breast cancer by wrapping it in a pink bow, repeating catchy slogans, and pushing early detection throughout the month is not enough and can even inadvertently place blame on those of us living with metastatic breast cancer for not catching it early. It is possible for breast cancer cells to break away from the primary tumor as it's forming before the cancer is large enough to be felt or detected on a mammogram. I was stunned to learn that less than 5 to 7% of all funding from pink ribbon campaigns goes towards metastatic breast cancer research. The median life expectancy for someone diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer is 3 years, and our 5-year survival rate is very low. Shockingly, those numbers have not changed in an impactful way in the last few decades, and stories like mine are becoming the norm. Our metastatic breast cancer community is in desperate need of research. Research is how we live. This is why I decided to join Light Up MBC, which is partnered with Metaviver. Metaviver is a volunteer-led and the only foundation in which 100% of donations go to metastatic breast cancer research. Ultimately, the goal is to bring awareness to metastatic breast cancer and to raise enough to help fund a full grant for critical research that will lead to advances in treatment options, quality of life, and survival for those of us diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. I encourage everybody to tune in to Light Up NBC on October 13th, which is Metastatic Breast Cancer Awareness Day, to learn more about metastatic breast cancer, hear inspiring stories, and watch over 200 landmarks across the globe light up in teal, pink, and green, including our own Murray Baker Bridge. I would not be where I am in this journey without my amazing medical team and the support from this community. So thank you for helping me shine a light on the cancer that is responsible for 98% of all breast cancer deaths.
And thank you for sharing your powerful, inspirational testimony. We want you to keep fighting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that awareness.
Thank you.
Our next proclamation recognizes National Latino Physician Day. We have Dr. Elsa L. Vanquez Melendez and Karina Favela, a medical student. Whereas the city of Peoria takes great pride in recognizing the significant contributions made by Latino physicians to our community's healthcare and well-being, and whereas Latino physicians have played an instrumental role in addressing healthcare disparities, providing culturally competent care, and advancing medical research and education, contributing immensely to the betterment of our city. And whereas the city of Peoria wishes to express its heartfelt gratitude to Latino physicians for their exceptional service and commitment to our community. And whereas the city of Peoria encourages diversity in healthcare settings in the hopes that one day the physician workforce can reflect the community it serves. And whereas National Latino Physician Day, observed on October 1st, is a day designated to honor and celebrate the accomplishments and dedication of Latino physicians in the field of medicine. Now, therefore, I, Rita Ali, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby acknowledge October 1st, 2024, as National Latino Physician Day in Peoria, Illinois.
Thank you, Dr. Mayor Rita Ali. It is my honor to introduce you guys to Dr. Vasquez Melendez, a Latina physician who has been practicing in Peoria for many, many years.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Karina, and thank you, Major Lee, and everybody. It is an honor and pride to be here. Being a resident of Peoria for almost 20 years, and I'm a faculty at the College of Medicine, and I work at one of the main hospitals. I work teaching and trying to inspire medical students and residents. The College of Medicine graduates a significant amount of Latino physicians, so hoping that the next generation, the workforce, will reflect the needs of our community. This recognition is very valuable, and especially because the population in Peoria, depending on what source you read, is between 4 and 10% Latino or Hispanic origin. The value of having a language and cultural concordance when caring for these patients really improves health outcomes, by building trust and overall the patient satisfaction. This trust comes by listening in a language that our patients can understand. Despite the efforts from the healthcare system to provide interpreter services, which is fantastic to cover these gaps, it does not really overshadows the value of having someone who speaks your language and that understands the nuances of your culture, and it really brings a lot of comfort to the family that we care for. Despite the fact that I spend a lot of time in the hospital, I was taking care of a patient, of a family actually, who had a lot of needs recently, and they were from a nearby town an hour away, and every day it was amazing to see the faces expressing the gratitude for having someone that really could be able to communicate in the same language. I hear not only this from the patient, but also, I'm not here only for the patients, but also my goal is to continue to inspire students like Karina and others, to mentor them, to continue to spread the word, and to make sure that representation matters. We're here, we're a small community, but we're really trying to drive the change. So thank you for having us. And
Thank you for
the
your
honor.
leadership. Thank you. Our last proclamation recognizes Civic Leadership Academy, and we have Nick Rubelid. He's with Peoria County Communications Coordinator, and it looks like he has a whole team with him. Those faces look pretty familiar. Okay. Whereas the City of Peoria is committed to working with other local units of government to best serve our community and has renewed its partnership with Peoria County to offer a combined Civic Leadership Academy. Whereas Civic Leadership Academy is a community education course that raises awareness of the responsibilities of local government and the services that it offers. Whereas Civic Leadership Academy allows participants an opportunity to experience local government in a unique, hands-on environment through a series of 2-hour sessions. And whereas many elected and appointed officials and staff members have given their time to present sessions to interested and involved community members. And whereas participants had an in-depth look at local government facilities, including the Peoria Fire Department, Peoria Police Department, Emergency Communications Center, Peoria Public Works, Peoria City Hall. I think they were sitting in your desks here. Peoria County Courthouse, Peoria County Jail, Peoria County Coroner's Office, and Peoria County Animal Protection Services, PCABS. And whereas the Civic Leadership Academy participants are deservedly graduating tonight. Is that right? Wonderful. Now, therefore, I, Rita Ali, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize and congratulate the graduates of Civic Leadership Academy in Peoria, Illinois.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Nick Rubelid. I'm the Communications Coordinator for Peoria County. I work with Andre all day, and it's really kind of funny when you see a coworker at a second job, Mayor Ali, Mr. Urick, you probably recognize these faces behind me. They were here in City Hall. They were, in fact, in your desks right here in the chambers as Mayor Ali and Mr. Urick gave an excellent talk on what local government does. And that's what the purpose of this program has been for the last 16 years, at least since 2008. We go to all these different facilities, as Mayor Ali said, and I'd like to spend most of this time really thanking you as the City of Peoria for helping host this program and what you do for the people of Peoria every single day. I'd also, of course, like to recognize the graduates naturally. I think that's only appropriate, if I'm not mistaken. So in no particular order, how about you just go ahead and just kind of raise your hand or something like that when I say your name. Tonight we have Sally Stevenson, Brittany Cook, Lisa Norwood, Datika Peebles, Stacy Raker, Olivia Starr, Joseph Starr, Amanda Thomason, Lindsay Watson, Keisha Woods, and May Bach. Right. Thank you very much again for all you do for the city. Thank you.
Congratulations. Before we move on, I just wanted to announce that it's budget time. So our calendars are starting to fill up every other week with meetings, special meetings of the Peoria City Council regarding the 2025 revised annual budget. These meetings will be held right here in council chambers. And the first meeting for the special meeting for the budget is Tuesday, October 15th. We'll have some a council meeting in between. The next one will be Tuesday, October 29th, and then hopefully we can wrap up Tuesday, November the 5th. Madam Clerk?
We are at the approval of the minutes.
Councilmember Riggenbach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve the minutes of the city council meeting held on September 24th, 2024 as printed.
Seconded by Councilmember Jackson. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We have one town item. 24-287 is a request from the town officials to approve the September 2024 actual expenditures and to approve the October 2024 anticipated expenditures for the town of the city of Peoria.
Trustee Graham?
Madam Chair, I move to approve as outlined.
Seconded by Trustee Kelly. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are at the consent agenda. 24-288 is a communication from the city manager and chief of police with a request to approve the purchase of furniture for the co-responder office space from Henriksen in the amount of $66,901.82. 24-289 is a communication with a request to approve the master services agreement with Axiom Global, Inc. for legal services and to authorize Corporation Counsel to execute the agreement. 24-290 is an appointment by Mayor Ali to the Police Pension Fund Board of Trustees with a request to concur of Catherine Hardy. 24-291 is an appointment by Mayor Ali to the Fire and Police Commission with a request to concur of Marvin Hightower. 24-292 is an appointment by Mayor Ali to the East Village Growth Cell Tax Increment Financing Economic Development Advisory Committee with a request to concur of Michael Wells. And 24-293 is a communication from the City Manager and Corporation Counsel with a request to approve the site application for a Class H temporary outdoor liquor license for an event to be held by St. Mark Roman Catholic Congregation at 711 North Underhill Street on October 20th, 2024. And that concludes our consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any items to remove from consent? Can I get a motion to approve? Moved by Councilmember Sears, seconded by Councilmember Euler. Any comments, questions? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are at regular business. 24-294 is a communication from the City Manager and Chief of Police with a request to approve the sole source purchase of 15 Blue Ridge Armor rifle-related ballistic shields in the amount of $108,750. And this item requires a 2/3 vote of the council members voting, no less than 6 votes.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd actually like to ask our Assistant Chief, Chief Dixon, to come forward and with his team and just talk about this item and the next item as well.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. We have a bit of a show and tell tonight. Police operate with a variety of tools. One of those tools are our ballistic shields. We have currently in our inventory 22 ballistic shields. These are tools we use often. They're to protect the officers, protect citizens, and these are widely used in the police industry, I guess, nationwide, universally across the continent, I guess. So our ballistic shields, most of them, 19 in fact, we found when we were doing our inventory, are either expired or no longer supported by the manufacturer. So we're asking to update our inventory. Most of them are not rifle rated. The reason for that is they're extremely heavy, they're hard to lift, they're very difficult for some of our officers to even maneuver.
So technology has advanced, so we have the rifle-rated plates now, shields are about as heavy as our normal shields that would stop pistol rounds, if that makes sense. So technology has advanced so much now that we can have rifle-rated plates that everybody can use. So, and if Officer Zabrak, this Officer Zabrak from our training unit, these are what we were operating with. They were basically pressed fabric. They're affected by humidity, cold. They get banged around in cars, they bend. So as you can see, this one was taken out of service, and this is what we were operating with. It was great at the time, but technology has evolved. These are for pistols only, and I'll show you a rifle-rated current technology plate. It's just a little bit heavier. If you guys want to see the, I can have, if anybody wants to see them or feel them or lift them, the officers can bring them to you, and you can check them out if you want. So let me know and I can bring them over to you. But otherwise, we are just simply updating our inventory. This is a need for the officers, and it's a tool that we utilize quite often.
How much do they weigh, the new ones, Chief Dixon? Do you, any idea?
They're about 17 pounds.
Whoa, that's pretty heavy.
So, and this is older technology and it's significantly heavier.
So they're, yeah, and some of them 40, 50 pounds, and you have to wear a shoulder harness. It's pretty amazing technology that they're putting into these new shields. So 17 pounds versus 40 to 50. Some of our bigger ones are 80, 90 pounds.
Okay, okay, great.
So,
Any questions for Chief Dixon? Okay, does someone want to make a motion? Oh, okay.
Well, I don't have a
Okay.
question. I wanted to know if I could touch it.
yeah, do you want to take a look?
Hold it. And then I do have a comment. I don't know.
Okay, sure.
I just want to, while they're bringing that over, commend the department again for always trying to not only keep the public safe, but also our officers, and making sure that when we can, we're updating the equipment that's in use. That is a huge difference. So again, just thank you for always trying to, do the next thing. And this looks heavy.
That only stops pistol rounds. This is new technology. It's a little heavier and it's a stop of the rifle rounds.
This is heavier.
Just a little bit, yes.
How's it feel, Councilwoman?
This is pretty heavy, I think.
If you think that's heavy.
Okay.
Got it?
Well, where you gonna know?
I got it. I don't even know. These are several years old. I don't even know if they offer this model anymore. This one here is state of the art, newest on the market.
Yeah, that's much more manageable.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any other comments, Councilwoman?
No,
No?
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Councilmember Seer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one question, City Manager. I can't see in the motion here, where's the money come from? Is that the general fund, or is that part of the budget?
So the funds are coming from existing funds out of the police operating budget.
Okay, thank you, sir. Move to approve.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Allen. Any other questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. You got another item here, don't you, Chief?
I do.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
24-295 is a communication from the city manager and chief of police with a request for the following. A, approve the sole source purchase of one Ford Explorer Interceptor from a no-bid procurement source in the amount of approximately $50,000. And item A requires a 2/3 vote of council members voting, no less than 6 votes. And item B is to approve the purchase of parts and labor estimated at $35,000 to equip the vehicle with all the necessary equipment needed for patrol. And we'll need separate votes on each, please.
Assistant Chief Dixon?
Okay, I'm much less excited to bring this item to you, so, on August 31st, we had a squad car involved in an accident. It caused significant damage to the car. The car was it's one of our older cars in our fleet. It's a 2017. The garage does a fantastic job of keeping our fleet running and safe. That particular car had 186,000 miles on it. So it was deemed a total loss, and it's cheaper to replace the car. So we're asking for a replacement for that vehicle.
Okay. Councilmember Seer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Assistant Chief, again, where do the fund come from for these purchases?
This fund would, these funds would come from the city general fund.
General fund. Madam Mayor, I'd like to move to approve item A.
Can I get a second? Seconded by Councilmember Kelly. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief Dixon. Oh, I'm sorry. That was item A. Can you say that again?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. Move to approve item B.
Seconded by Councilmember Kelly. Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Seer, can you plug in?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
24-296 is a communication from the City Manager, Corporation Counsel, and Director of Public Works with a request to approve a resolution authorizing the preparation and execution of a restated landfill number 3 agreement between the City of Peoria, Peoria County, the Peoria City County Solid Waste Disposal Committee, and GFL.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This has been a long time coming. We're glad to be at this point. We have come to agreement with GFL over the issues that we have been at odds with over the construction of the landfill. And we've agreed to these terms that are outlined in the agreement that's in front of you that would defer construction of that landfill for 10 years. There would be a transfer station that would be sited on GFL's property just west of the city of Peoria. They would operate that until January 1st of 2035, at which point the landfill, City County Landfill 3, would open up. As part of that proposal, they've also agreed to provide a corporate guarantee to us that they will perform under the contract. The biggest advantage to the city is that our tipping fee will be reduced down to $56.27, and then an additional $10 reduction down to $46.27. And from that point, it will grow with the rate of inflation, capped at 6% a year if inflation is ever back as high as it was, over 6%. But that will last for the life of this contract. So for the city, the immediate fiscal impact is that we're going to see that our costs of landfilling are going to drop nearly $1.5 million with the advent of this contract. So once we move into this contract, we'll see that our cost for disposing our waste will drop by $1.5 million. In addition, there's some benefits for the county that were built into this, providing a normalized collection rate for residents outside of the city of Peoria. They've agreed to structure a committee host benefit agreement for our landfill committee of $1.50 per ton that will grow with the rate of inflation. And they will provide the landfill committee with $300,000 upon the execution of this agreement. They will provide the county with a 75-cent host benefit fee that will grow with the rate of inflation. And they'll provide the city as well a 75-cent per ton host benefit fee that will grow with the rate of inflation. Along with that, they have also agreed that they will provide monthly household hazardous waste collection events. And what we're going to do differently than having a facility that would be structured with this is that we would look at providing monthly events at different locations throughout the county, probably hosting them and having them at Expo Gardens because it's centrally located inside the city, where people can drop off household hazardous waste, which many people have under their sinks and in their garages and in their basement that they don't know that they have, that you really can't landfill. And that GFL will take up to 150,000 pounds of that a year as part of this proposal. So we feel like we've ended in a very good spot with this agreement, and it will provide certainty of our costs of waste disposal for the next 30 to potentially 40 years. So I think it's a really good deal for the city, and we would urge your support of this agreement. The county already passed it. They passed it last week, and it'll come to the landfill committee tomorrow.
That's fantastic. Great due diligence on this and your involvement in this, Mr. Manager. Improved services, more services, less cost.
Absolutely.
And then how does that trickle down to the resident in terms of cost?
Well, that's a great question. From a cost perspective, what this is going to afford the city, Councilman Sear is very, very quick to point out every month that there's a deficit in our solid waste fund, where the general fund has basically been supporting the operations of our garbage fund for a number of years. This will allow us to keep our rates the same, and it will allow us to put that money towards that deficit over the next couple of years. So it's really, we're not going to see an increase in our garbage collection costs like there has been over the last 5 or 6 years, where we've grown it $1 a year every year. So for the resident, what it means for Peorians is that for $25 a month, you're going to continue to get the weekly waste pickup, the recycling that we get every other week, the 37 weeks of yard waste collections, and any bulky waste that you take out to the curb. So we have a great service that we provide to the citizens of Peoria at a really affordable price.
Outstanding. Thank you. Councilmember Riggenbach has served on this landfill committee as well, representing our council. I'd like to turn it over to you, Councilman Riggenbach.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Manager, for that comprehensive overview of it. Just a couple things that I feel obligated to highlight, because I think the original landfill agreement with PDC dating back to 2009, the decrease in the tipping fee, almost a 50% decrease, is something that the council then was very happy to embrace, and something that, as we've had these negotiations over the last couple of years with GFL, that we were determined that needed to stay in place. And as the manager said, it does. So I think to see that we're going to have that savings, immediate savings, that we're going to be able to pay down the deficit in the garbage solid waste fund is something that we can all be very proud of. And then the household hazardous waste, let's be honest, that's something that we don't take seriously enough, I think. And having a facility at the landfill was a great concept 10 years ago, but to have a rotating location, I think, will be equally important and probably more consumer friendly, because the landfill is a little bit out there for those of us that live in the city. So I think this is a great agreement, and I see our friends from GFL in the audience here. Mr. Eric, good to see you. Shangri, thank you. And we appreciate your being here, and we're just happy that the negotiations have yielded something that I think all of us can be proud of. So with that, I would move for the approval.
Okay, thank you for your leadership. Seconded by Councilmember Kelly. Was that a second, that hand, or was it wanting to talk? Okay, can I get a second? Seconded by Councilmember Euler. And we're open for comments here. Councilmember Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would just like to give a pat on the back to our manager and to the landfill committee, including Councilman Riggenbach. This has come out better than I thought it would, which is maybe that's not a great hurdle. However, I'm just thrilled with how it has come out. This really benefits our city. It benefits our budget all the way around. It's a really good agreement. I'm very happy with it, and I will be voting for it.
Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilmember Allen?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just two quick questions for you, Manager. I see under the commencement date for the opening of Landfill 3, it says on or before January 1st, 2035. Can you speak to if the construction gets done ahead of time, what that would mean for this agreement? Would we go ahead and then start operationalizing Landfill 3, or would our goal be to go through this entire agreement before we start utilizing Landfill 3?
No, I think the intent was that we would go through the 10-year period with the transfer station. I think that it would be GFL's intent to start construction. It takes a long time to get a landfill constructed, that they would work on trying to get that done and commence with construction about 8 years from now. So that gives them a couple of years to get everything ready to go to have that happen. We're still working out issues right now, even with the site, with the Illinois EPA over the evidence of mines or lack of evidence of mines. And we have an issue with the dam that's out at the site that needs to be addressed. So there's some site-related issues that this gives us time to get those lined up and squared away without having the pressure of having that open, having to push to have that open right away.
Sure. So we have a built-in buffer there. So that's good to hear. And then my second question is, if there is a acquisition of GFL, will this agreement, is there language that's protecting us that it would be honored if a new company were to come in?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, Mr. Manager, and everyone who was involved in this process. I truly appreciate it.
You're welcome. And the motion was made by Councilmember Riggenbach, seconded by Councilmember Euler. Both of them have served on the landfill committee, so thank you also for your leadership there. If there's no more questions, please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Shangrell. Team. Madam Clerk?
24-297 is a communication from the City Manager and Finance Director Comptroller with a request to receive and file the 2025 revised budget.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's that time of year again, as you mentioned. This is, everyone should have a copy of the 2025 revised budget on your desk in front of you. It's been placed on file with the county clerk, or the city clerk. Just a couple of highlights. We put together in the budget book for you just a little infographic that just kind of outlines some of the highlights of this year's budget, revised budget. This budget invests $282.2 million, including $126.8 million in the general fund, into our 6 strategic priorities that are part of our strategic plan: infrastructure, community safety, business growth, downtown development, embracing equity, and improving the quality of life. This budget has ample reserves that are in place. It has a $65 million capital investment, community investment plan. We're not anticipating, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, the garbage fee increase. We're not anticipating a stormwater fee increase as part of this. The budget fully funds public safety pensions and ensures that we are closing out the American Rescue Plan, the $47.1 million of American Rescue Plan funds. The department in this budget book, there are department goals that are tied back to the strategic plan that you'll be able to see. And so what I just want to do for council, if I could just take 2 minutes to just walk through this with you. If you follow along in your book, if you just turn to the second page is the table of contents. I want to highlight a couple of things for you in here. The overview of our financial structure really is in the very first section of the book from pages 5 through 32. The budget overview starts on page 33, and that includes the transmittal letter from the finance director and myself. It includes an overview and analysis of our financial performance during 2024, where we think we're going to end the year both from a revenues and expenses standpoint. And then we get into our budget in brief on page 42, where we talk about revenues and expenses in the capital budget. On page 47, we provide to you an analysis of how we're going to recommend closing out the American Rescue Plan funds. We talk about staffing changes in the budget on page 48, our fund balances on page 49, and then future considerations for you to think about on page 50. We then run through our fund summaries, which start on page 62, and they run through page 234. And then on page 235 in the book is when we start talking about the departmental summaries. So that's where you'll see the information of the goals and how it's tied to the strategic plan. Our debt analysis is on page 271. And then on page 278, or 279 and 280, we start the community investment plan, and then you have all the detailed sheets in that as well. So it's 440 pages of fiscal pleasure for you to read and dig into. So as the mayor mentioned earlier, our timeline is, our goal is to try and get everything wrapped up if we can by November 5th, so that by November 12th, at that regular council meeting, we would come back to you with the appropriation and levy ordinances to adopt the budget book. Tonight is really just to hand this to you, and then we'll jump into greater detail of what's in this book and what we're talking about with you next Tuesday evening at our special budget meeting.
So we've got a lot of homework to do between now and next Tuesday, but it looks like Director Kyle Craddy and our city manager has already done a lot of homework in putting this together.
Well, we really couldn't have done it without the support of the department heads and the staff that worked on it, the staff in the finance department, the staff in the manager's office that really helped to put everything together. But we look forward to having the conversation with you here over the next several Tuesdays.
Okay. Thank you. If there's no questions, can I get a motion to receive and file? Moved by Councilmember Euler, seconded by Councilmember Gordon Young. And we do have a comment or question. Councilmember Seer?
I missed, what's the motion for accepting the
To
book?
receive and file.
Just a book?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's okay.
Okay, that's right. He wasn't going to let us get by with that. Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
24-298 is a communication from the city manager and finance director comptroller with a request to receive and file the month ended August 31, 2024, an audited financial report.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to our finance director, Director Craddy.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Just real quick, kind of going through where we are through the month end August 31st, 2024. In the general fund, we are where I think you usually want to be. We are ahead on revenues and we are behind on expenditures. And so we are trending in that direction. I know I've been kind of saying that the last few meetings of we are going to be in this position. And it does show on the August report, and it does show as well in the budget document in front of you tonight. Just the other item I wanted to draw your attention to, because I know it came up at the last meeting, on page 8 is the bridge loan breakdown with the Civic Center. We did receive all of those funds back from the Civic Center in August, so they currently are paid in full. And with that, I'm available if there's any additional questions from council.
Okay. Councilmember Seer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor or Mr. Manager, I won't be here next Tuesday. Be out of town. Is that okay if I ask for a couple, 2 or 3 report backs tonight? Okay, thank you very much. First comment, Mr. Craddy, I expect the refuse garbage $4.6 million deficit to be paid off in 3 years. That'd be correct? We have $1.5 million savings per year?
Yeah, I think based off of what's in the book this coming year, we're at about $2.5 million deficit. Based off the trending, we'd be there around 2027.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to it. Question about the warehouse TIF tonight. I mean, kind of unusual question, but I don't know if you can answer this question or not. I see $9.6 million in the warehouse TIF district. Where are we allowed to use that money?
So most of that money is earmarked specifically for the Depot Street project. So those funds are already allocated to be spent. Really, the net fund balance that we have within the warehouse district TIF right now is about 1.3 million. And that has to be used on those projects specifically within the warehouse district.
So when will you show the $1.3 million balance?
So in the budget document itself, it will show that, but it's really based off of when we physically spend the dollars on that construction project, which is going to be happening over probably the next year to year and a half.
How much fund do we receive on an annual basis from the warehouse district?
We get, in terms of increment, about $1.2 million a year.
And where does the, Mr. Manager, or either one, where does the warehouse district start?
Generally, it starts around, it would run down to MacArthur, where MacArthur crosses the river at the Cedar Street Bridge, and it works its way back up into what we would consider the central business district, up to about as far as Liberty Street. Is where it goes. So, for example, the PNC Bank building is in the warehouse district too. And it runs from Jefferson Street to the river.
So the PNC building is a warehouse district. Okay. Thank you very much for that answer. Couple more questions. New bonds, I always ask every year. Any new debt? Are we issuing any new debt this year?
The only debt that we have in this budget, there's no general obligation bond issuances that are built into this. There is the money for the combined sewer overflow program. That's $14.4 million, which is a very low interest loan from the US EPA. Those dollars are, I think at like 1.75%, I think is the interest rate. So it's very below market. And those dollars are there. We apply to the or the Illinois EPA to get those dollars, and that's where that funding source comes from.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Just a couple report back, please. One would be, some of us have been around, hard to say, it's hard to believe, we've been here for, this is number 8 budget for some of us. Could you put together historical graph of revenue and expenses the last 7 years so everybody can have an idea where, what happened basically to our tax dollars the last 7 years, and with number 8, obviously this year, this coming year, in that report would be great. Just some type of graph, something simple. It'd be great just to see where we've been and where we're going. Be great. And the last one would be, every year I ask for a CIP report, just a breakdown per district, just so we could have an idea where all our money is going and how we're splitting this $60 million.
Yep. So we could put those together and include them with the report backs on the 22nd.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
Move to approve, or move to, is that a file?
Receive and file.
Receive and file. Move to receive and file.
Seconded by Councilmember Euler. Any other comments or questions? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are at unfinished business. 24-281 is a communication from the City Manager and Director of Community Development with a request to concur with recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff for the following. A, approve a resolution approving an annexation agreement for property located at 9910 North Orange Prairie Road and North Illinois Route 91. This item requires 2/3 vote of corporate authorities, no less than 8 votes. Item B, adopt an ordinance annexing property located at North Illinois Route 91. Item C, adopt an ordinance rezoning property from a Class R3 single-family residential district to a Class C1 general commercial district located at 9910 North Orange Prairie Road. And rezoning property to a Class C1 general commercial district located at North Illinois Route 91. And item D, adopt an ordinance approving a special use for outdoor recreation for property located at 9910 North Orange Prairie Road and North Illinois Route 91.
Councilmember Allen?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We want to provide an update on this current matter. Last Monday, myself, Mayor Ali, and Assistant Director Allison met with the proposed developers, the Larsons, as well as neighbors and property owners in the area. We met here at City Hall for about an hour and a half and had some pretty robust and passionate conversation about this matter. There's still some unanswered questions that some of the neighboring residents have, and the petitioners have agreed to explore providing answers to those. So everyone is in agreement that we're going to defer this matter to our scheduled meeting November 12th. Which will allow the petitioner essentially to fill the questions from the neighbors. I've recently created a shared Google Doc between all parties, and people are populating it as we speak with questions, and then that allows the developer to respond with some responses. And then the goal will be to have a follow-up meeting between all stakeholders, either the week of the 28th or the week of the 4th, and then hopefully we'll have enough information that we'll be able to take a vote at the November 12th meeting. Did I miss anything, Assistant Director Allison?
No, I'm just here to back you up, but yes.
Awesome. I see we got our tan jackets on today,
Right.
so we're in sync. No, I really appreciate you being there, fielding those questions, and again, I appreciate the developer who is a stakeholder in the area and wants to be a good neighbor. So I appreciate their patience in this matter as we look to address those concerns, and hopefully we'll have a positive resolution.
Yeah, you did a great job in moderating that meeting. Very professionally done.
I had my extra strength deodorant on, but we held it down, so we did.
You want to make a motion to defer?
Yeah, sure. Do I need to make a motion to defer each of these separately, Deputy Corporation Kapusco, or can I do
They
it?
said we can do them all together.
We can do them all
previously.
together. Okay. I would like to make a motion to defer item 24281, items A, B, C, and D, please, until our scheduled meeting on November 12th.
Seconded by Councilmember Riggenbach. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
24-283 is a communication from the City Manager and Corporation Council with a request to approve the site application for a Class A tavern liquor license with on-site consumption and retail sale of alcohol for Tataboo LLC, doing business as Tataboo at 631 West Main, contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of occupancy with a recommendation from the Liquor Commission to approve.
Councilmember Graham?
I move to defer this item until our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting, October 22nd.
Okay. Seconded by Councilmember Allen. Any discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. On those last two votes, Councilmember Sear had to step out just for a few minutes. He'll be back. Madam Clerk?
If there's no further unfinished business, we'll be at new business.
Is there any new business? No new business. Madam Clerk?
Then we'll be at citizens' opportunity to address the City Council.
Okay. I have 3 cards. First, we have Jeff Leroy.
Madam Mayor, City Council. Been here before a number of times. Things seemed to get a little bit better for a while. So everybody was kind of lax across the street. They opened up their drains and bingo, they got the cockroaches again across the street. The people on the other side of the neighbor, they got hammered again. And we kept our drains closed, but it was a week ago, right before we went on vacation, there was one downstairs of our house. And then we went away for a week on vacation, came back. My wife thought, well, hopefully everything's fine. So we checked everything around the house, went into the master bath, and there was one in the toilet. Talked to the pest control guy, these things are coming through the toilet, up through the sewers. And so I went outside, I looked around, and lo and behold, his garbage cans are between our house and his house. I lifted the lid on both of them, and I've watched these people, and they bring their garbage can out with no bag in it most of the time, and they just dump it right into the tote. A bunch of it ends up laying in the street, and they don't care. Well, anyway, inside the tote, and I've got a video of it that I took today out there, and they're loaded with cockroaches. Now, the city's been paying a chunk of money to begin with to try and get this problem taken care of. And then they've got this guy on a contract for a year, which probably is coming up here pretty soon. And through looking on the Ring camera that we have this last weekend, Saturday, Ashley had set up a thing to have a dumpster out in front of the place a while back, and anything that needed to go into that dumpster could be thrown away. Well, he didn't really take too much advantage of this big dumpster, and Ashley asked him again, is there anything that you could use it for? He said, no. He goes, I've thrown away just about everything that I want to throw away. So this last Saturday, before we got back, and the neighbor took a picture of it, and I got it on our Ring camera, somebody pulled up with about a 16-foot trailer out in front of his house, and they just kept loading more and more, and mattresses and stuff like that, and heaped them on there. Now, whether they had bed bugs, whether they had cockroaches, whether they had both, I don't know. But in doing a little further checking yesterday, I noticed that this guy had not paid his taxes in 22, and somebody had bought him. Didn't pay his taxes in 23, and somebody had bought him. And now this year, he's got till the end of this month because he hasn't paid his taxes this year. So this guy's freeloading on the city of Peoria. And, Ashley had a guy come out, and they took it was from Right Way Tree Service, and they deemed that the tree next door needed to be trimmed. And when Ashley asked him, he said, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, this guy just keeps putting off everything. He doesn't care about the neighbors at all, and he doesn't care about the city. So I've got pictures, like I said, a video of it, and something really needs to be done. It's not working, whatever they're getting next door. And they keep baiting next door for the rats in the backyard too every month. So I appreciate any kind of help out of anybody, because I remember I talked to Councilwoman Jackson, and they tore down a house over on Knoxville years ago that was infested with cockroaches. So hopefully something can get done this time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. David Williams, Sr.
Thank you, Mayor Arlene, and thank you guys for taking the time to come and listen to me. I don't think you guys normally get many 18-year-olds to come up here and kind of address you guys, so I kind of take full opportunity into that. I'll give you a little bit of background about me. Again, I did highlight that I am 18, and I just graduated from high school about a few months ago. And I've always been interested into politics. As you guys, well, at least as the mayor knows, I do aspire to be the president one day. So I don't think many 18-year-olds can come up here and kind of just stand firm on that. Some people that give me inspiration is kind of like my grandfather. He's definitely a leader of mine. He worked in the Chicago Police Department, in which I know the assistant chief over there, as he was showing the barriers, I forget what they were called, but as he was showing them, I was like, dang, that's cool, dude. So I've always been kind of around that. And then, I kind of feel ultimately that it's like my kind of responsibility, because again, you don't really see much like teenagers step up and kind of say, hey, these are some problems that we need to address, and this is how we should go ahead and solve them. Because I hope you guys know, I don't know if you guys are aware of, 78% of Gen Z kids are on some type of psychiatric medication regarding antidepressants, stress, or anxiety. So it's like, well, what are these problems that are causing them? And I think it's kind of alarming that, we see this at this rate, because our kids do need mental health. And at the same time, we've also seen across the United States an increase in crime amongst teenagers. So, and it's like, well, you know, they turn to these things. I think we need to provide more mental health resources for these people. And because in an increase too, in 1960, and I think this is another issue as well. In 1960, we had about 5 million children living in single parenting homes. That number has jumped to 23 million kids living in single parenting homes. Now, that's just a trend I noticed, but I think that's a problem that I think should be addressed. And again, it's like, it seems like my kind of opportunity to kind of take a stance on that and kind of stand up and be like, hey, you know, this is a problem. This is how we should go about it. I do look forward to kind of like working with not only you as I progress, but everyone in this room, because again, as I said, you guys probably don't get many 18-year-olds to kind of just step up to the plate like this. So it's definitely a exciting type of nerve-wracking type of feeling. And it's just an honor that I can come on here and kind of see you guys work around, because again, I do have a love for politics. I do. And you know, it'd be funny too, because when the teachers, so like on the first day of school, the teachers would come and ask and be like, everyone raise their hands, tell you your interests and whatnot. I'll probably say something along the lines of me loving Steph Curry because I love NBA, and then me loving politics. And then the kids will laugh at me because they're like, this kid's weird. And it's like, well, it's just out of the ordinary to see someone that age to be so interested. I got interested around the age of like 13, definitely either somewhere in that period during COVID. And it's just, I just want to work with you guys. I do want to meet with some of you guys after this is over with, and the assistant chief over there too. I see you in the corner over there. So I do want to meet with you as well. But you guys are all really cool people, and it's kind of nice to like, you know, see people work. Because I've always said too, a problem within our own government is that I call it that we're stuck in a standstill in traffic right now. We can't get nothing done. So to see us so divided while we're called the United States is very hypocritical to me. So it's nice to see you guys all work, and it's definitely an example that I take of, and it's just a really cool sight to see to me. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to speak with each and every one of you if needed. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Hind Ekar.
Hello, council members. Hello, Mayor. Unfortunately, I have slightly different sash this time than previous times. FEMA reported, responding to the disaster Helene, announced that they need $9 billion to help American citizens in need. But they don't have this money. The next day, the US sent Israel $8.7 billion. It is clear where we, the US citizens, including you, David, are on the totem pole in the US when it comes to US relations with Israel. September 17, a couple of weeks back, in the space of 5 seconds in Lebanon, cities, towns, homes, crowded markets, civic servants, doctors, general public, 3,000 people were injured, and 37 killed, including children. Their pagers, weaponized by explosives by Israel, exploded after buzzing, prompting the people to hold the pagers close to their faces, looking at them. Eye surgeons, including my first cousin, who is an eye surgeon in the American University of Beirut Hospital, spoke horrified about how many how many eyes they had to remove. Never. All of them said never in their lives went through that. And those who lost their eyes also lost their hands. There was no condemnation by the US. That's Israel for you. Leon Panetta, a former CIA director and a very conservative person, stated emphatically that this action is absolute terrorism. He added his deep concern if this is duplicated by other countries. Imagine. Israel now expanded its genocidal war to Lebanon, our ancient country, a country that has been called Lebanon in every religion since ancient times and even before there were religions, is now seeing its high rises bombed to rubble. The people inside those rises cannot be even extracted because the bombs that they are using is turning everything to dust. Our glorious city of Beirut being bombed with the latest and most lethal of US bombs. Our precious south, the most fertile land in Lebanon, which is a tiny country, has been peppered for a full year with white phosphorus, rendering every plant, every tree dead now and possibly for future generations, uninhabitable. These same genocidal tactics that were honed on Gaza for 1 year are now being used in Lebanon with the same impunity. On Wednesday, October 7, Israel ordered the evacuation of 30 towns and villages in Lebanon, including villages that run north to the Litani River and including Nabatiye, the sixth largest city in Lebanon. Those who refused to move were told they will be presumed to be terrorists or sympathizers and risk being shot or bombed just for staying in their homes. 1.2 million Lebanese are displaced in their own country. I was talking to my mother yesterday, and over the phone, I heard the loudest explosion over these thousands of miles, and she said all the windows flung open because the town next to us, in the quaint mountains in Lebanon, was bombed. Powerful friends of Israel in this country have really prevented, including the media, have prevented and have controlled the narrative and have prevented the understanding of what's really going on.
Thank you.
I just can't take 30 seconds. I think anyone who remains silent is complicit. I will keep speaking here because I love this country and I want you, as US citizens, to see the other side and hopefully help us demand a ceasefire. Thank you.
Ramez Abi Akar.
If you're asking whether we're related, yes, we are, husband and wife, okay? I'm going to start with a personal story and then relate to your concept. Thank you for listening. We never cooperated on what to say. Everybody is in this bad situation. Well, yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. We are a husband and wife. We were there in Beirut in 1982 under the bombs. Another full episode is going on as we speak. We survived in 1982. Otherwise, the then bride and groom would not have made it to live in Peoria 42 years later. Yes, we are survivors of the first Israeli invasion of Beirut. It's hard to keep counting since that time. From LSU, Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I studied English as a second language in a scholarship program between the Lebanese government and the US government. I was on my most expected rendezvous with the girl of my dreams to get married in the summer of 1982. Alas, the bottom of the sky fell on us then, and we couldn't make it. Even just meeting was almost impossible between the two of us. Setting a wedding was out of hand, of course, but we made a promise to each other to stay alive under the shelling. As LSU classes was about to start in the fall of 1982, in USA, the two decided to weather the grave situation just 5 days before the travel day. We managed to get married in a hurry, and we landed under the happy skies of America. We were foreign students then, and there we go, free Peorians now. Gentlemen, there was no Hamas then, yet there was a terrible war, a terrible invasion. Israel named its enemy as PLO then, exactly as it names it Hamas now. The Lebanese people were the victims. Well, their fault was that they humanely hosted Palestinian refugees on their land. Since 1948, Nakba. Skipping the 1967 war and other wars and bombings took place later after 1982 on Lebanese land. Newly Israeli enemies existed subsequently: PLO, Fatah, Hezbollah, Popular Front of Palestine, etc. Can we pause for a minute and think of a common fact among all of these wars? Israel was always a common side. The other side was always a Palestinian group or a pro-Palestinian group. As long as there are Palestinian and Lebanese refugees with a breath of life and no homeland, do you think there would be peace? I know you decided not to make a call to a ceasefire. It's okay. Just call for peace and human dignity for Palestine and Lebanon. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our public comment. There is no executive session, so I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilman Allen, seconded by Councilwoman Jackson. Please cast your ballots. Councilmember Riggenbach and Sear. That's all right.